Right here on Wall to Wall Country. Hello, everybody. We're into the second hour of the show. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. I got to do a quick shout out, though, to Stacy. Chatting with her a little bit on Facebook, along with my buddy Dustin Collins. Also, she wanted to get a little Brett Eldridge out there, so we threw that out there via a Facebook request. So thanks for checking in, guys. And as I mentioned, we've got a lot of great artists on the docket and going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. But, hey, if you want to hear something, remember, you can do it through the Penn Speak Radio Facebook page. I'm hanging out there with you, and I'd love to hear from you via that way as well. But let's get down to business for the second hour of the show. Got another brand new artist on the docket today, and I'm very excited to chat with this girl. She's got an incredibly interesting voice, and I think you're going to agree with me when you get to hear this lovely lady. We have a brand new girl on tap here. It's a lovely girl by the name of Ariana Hodes. Right here on Penn Speak. Are you there, Ariana? I'll get it right yet, girl. I promise. I'll get it right yet.
It's kind of a weird one, I admit it. And, I hated my name growing up. I made people call me by anything other than Ariana when I was a real little kid.
Nice. But, I love the little bit of a story that I've already heard. I read your bio, got a little background of your information and stuff, and you have... honestly, when they first approached me about you and they sent me some music and I was looking at your pictures and stuff, and then I started listening to your music, you just blew me away. You just have this voice that I just did not expect coming out of you, and I am so excited to share your tone and your sound with my audience.
Thank you so much.
I
guess it doesn't quite match what you think you're going to get, and then,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I know everybody, most of the people they send me, I usually figure, well, I know they can sing, I know they have talent, but, every once in a while somebody just blows me out of my chair, and I was like, whoa, this girl's got some crazy, crazy vocals going on here. But, hey, let's not jump the gun. So let's...
All right.
Yeah. Now that we've teased that enough with the listeners, they're just going to have to wait.
That's right. Yep.
They're going to have to wait for a little bit to hear one of your tunes, and we are going to play some of your music as the interview progresses. But let's go back from the beginning. You're actually born and raised not too far from here, respectively, compared to where you are now.
Right.
You're
Northeast.
You're a Northeast girl. Yeah, I feel a connection already.
New Hampshire.
You know what snow is.
That's right. I know all about fall. I know all about winter. All the seasons.
Perfect. Well, go ahead, Ariana, and give us a little breakdown about where you came from and how you ended up on the road to Nashville and ended up hanging out. Where did you say you were? Outside the Y on a street in Nashville somewhere?
Yeah, I am outside the Y in East Nashville, Tennessee right now. But yeah, I born and raised in New Hampshire to musical parents, actually, who had a kids rock group. I wonder if some of your listeners may know them. They were called Pegasus.
Okay.
And they spelled it P-E-G-G-O, which was my dad's nickname for my mom, and for the longest time I thought that's how you spelled Pegasus. I just spelled it wrong for, decades. And so they raised my brother and I to just be sort of musical hooligans and let us do, whatever we wanted. It was idyllic childhood. I really have nothing to complain about. And, my mom's a classically trained singer, my dad's a guitarist, and they recorded music in our basement, and I would go and sell merch for them when they would have shows, the whole, indie musician thing that they were doing. And then I was also very into theater, and so I went to school for musical theater, and then was acting in L.A. and making a web series and started writing songs and finishing songs. I'd been writing lyrics since I was a kid and kept a journal, but I'd never really thought about my own songs as being a thing to pursue. I sort of helped write a musical in college, and that was fun, and I wrote lyrics for that. And then it was when I was living in L.A. and I was, sort of surrounded by all these different kinds of people than I'd ever been exposed to before, and people making music or people making theater. You know, it was just all this creative community happening out there. And I started finishing some songs and felt, you know, good enough to play them for some of my friends who were the first ones to be like, you know, those are really good. You should maybe think about that. And my family, in the course of, you know, my dad had been an entertainment lawyer for a while, and he'd met this guy, Mike Borchetta, and you might know Scott Borchetta of Big Machine, and that's his dad.
Oh, wow, okay.
Is this really, he's an amazing guy, has had an amazing career in radio promotion and country radio, and so, you know, we sort of trolled his opinion, if you will, just to be like, hey, is this really something that is, you know, worth the time and effort to do? Is it, you know, worth it to make a move from LA to Nashville? And he was really the one who was like, you know, kind of same as you. He was like, there's a sound here. You should come to Nashville. You should just do it. Just, you know, that's what I think you should do. And so, you know, that was really the final nail in that coffin that got me to make the move out here 2 years ago and really buckle down and start working on songwriting and co-writing, which is a huge thing here, and, you know, just trying to do that as much as I possibly can now.
Yeah, has the Borchettas gotten you, you know, do you think that was a big stepping stone to get you a little bit further down the line than just kind of going to Nashville by yourself, or were they pretty much the people who said, just go and figure it out?
Right. Yeah, they were so sweet. Him and his wife, Martha, are two of the sweetest people I've ever met, and they really did help me, like, take me under their wing a little bit and brought me around to some places and just helped introduce me to some cool people and give me a feeling of the town overall. And I really liked, I mean, I was kind of ready to move from L.A. anyway. I was sort of getting, you know, those hot feet, you know, sort of wanderlust. I was ready for a new thing. And Nashville is an amazing town. And, I mean, if anybody's visited, you know, they know it's so fun here. And the people are so welcoming and so great. So, I mean, it's hard to say if I wouldn't have moved on my own anyway, but it definitely helps to have them be like, no, you should do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, and I think maybe the other thing that it kind of helps, too, is kind of give you the idea that, I'm trying to think of a word, but, you know, kind of the feather in your cap to say, yes, it's worth it. You know, like you said, you know, you could have moved out on your own and still kind of maybe possibly been in the dark of not really sure, you know, if you had the golden ticket, so to speak, but for someone of his caliber to, you know, solidifying that for you.
He has just heard everybody under the sun. You know, he worked with some of the major names back in the 60s. He worked with Dusty Springfield. He brought her around to radio stations and stuff. So it's crazy, you know, how many voices he's heard.
Right.
Yeah, definitely for him to say, you know, definitely keep working on this and definitely pursue this is,
yeah.
You know, it's hard to ignore somebody like that with that kind of experience, you know?
Right. Yeah, and, you know, and like I said, the validation of that, you know, in itself, you know, really kind of, whatever doubt you may have.
And there are doubts.
Yeah, you know.
For sure.
But if he saw something in you, there must be something there. And now it's your job to find it and get it out there for the listening audience, you know. So congrats on that, man. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That was a pretty surreal moment early on, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just kind of was, just one of those sort of serendipitous things. Like, he'd been, you know, friends with my dad, you know, for like 15 years at that point or something like that. And it was, you know, just kind of a thing where it was like, okay, we feel comfortable enough to say, you won't blow any smoke anywhere, you know? There's nothing in it for you. It's nothing. It's really one of those, hey, friend to friend, just an honest opinion, what do you think kind of things. And it was, I mean, so definitely one of those things I hold on to when I do have those moments of, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life?
Right. Well, I mean, I can tell you, and it's funny because the part of the description of your voice is quote unquote. She mixes the growl of Patti Smith with the delicate sensibility of Emmylou Harris. And when I read that, and then I listened to your music, I'm like, holy shit, that is the ultimate description. You've got that growl, girl. You've got that. I don't know where you dig that from your toes, but that beefiness.
Yeah.
Now, does your mom sing that way? Do you know where you've traced that bass tone from?
I'm so glad you asked me about that. I guess the way I've always thought of it is I really do think I am a mix of my parents vocally. My mom is she's got this gorgeous soprano, classically trained soprano voice, and it's so beautiful. And she can definitely get some soul in there, although I don't know if she lets herself totally all the time because of all of her training.
Mm-hmm.
But, and my dad comes with this real, just rootsy, folksy kind of tone, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I ended up getting a little bit of his, a little bit, gruffness, if you will, for lack of a better word, sort of mixed with, the range certainly came from my mom. It's because when I'm in voice. I mean, I can definitely go up super high. I probably am like a second soprano at this point. Although, to be perfectly honest, my voice has changed, back and forth and sideways and every which way since I started singing. But now that I've hit, I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm not really spreading this around, but now that I've hit my early 30s, it's and they say that that's when actually a woman's voice finally reaches maturity. So I think this is where things are sitting for a while. So
you finally found your sweet spot.
There.
Yeah.
Yep,
Nice.
I think so.
Awesome. Well, I hope you keep it because from what I heard, I really liked it. I liked it a lot. Now, Ariana, you do have an EP out. Is this your first EP? This is your first premiere EP that you have out?
Yes.
Wow.
This is it. My first official recording of original tunes, and I feel pretty good about it. I'm not going to lie.
Uh-huh.
Pretty proud of what we did. I put out a few covers with Mike, who had me record 2 songs that I love, Brand New Key by Melanie, and You Don't Have to Say You Love Me by Dusty Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the first cover tunes that we sort of put out and put to country radio. And then this has really been my, here are these songs that I've written, me personally. I feel good about them. I think they say things that I really, believe in and want to put out there. And here we go.
Okay. And you wrote all the songs. How many songs are on the album, Ariana?
There's 4 songs on this EP, and
okay.
I did write all of these on my own. Although being in Nashville, I hope that certainly anything else that I put out is a product of the co-writing. And I've had some amazing writing partners recently that I just can't wait to share what we've been doing too. So
okay. Now the EP itself is Last Night's Makeup, but that's also one of the songs.
Yeah.
Okay. And we had talked about playing some of your music, and now that we've teased everybody quite a bit, I think what we'll do is we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with Last Night's Makeup. But why don't you tell us a little bit, since you're the author of these, this art, I can, as a woman, imagine what the song's about, but I think I want to, there's a couple different ways you can go with that. But, maybe what's your insight? Where did the inspiration for a song that's called Last Night's Makeup come from, my dear?
Yep. Well, it came after a night that one of my best friends and I decided that night we were just going to say yes. So whatever anybody asked us to do, we weren't trying to break any laws or really get into illegal territory, but just trying to have an open mind and have an adventure kind of night,
Mm-hmm.
So it's we're going to say yes to whatever happens. And so it came after a night of adventure and one night stand.
I was wondering if you were going to go there.
Yeah, I can't even lie about it, because it just happened. And it's I really like this song because, you can write a one-night stand song and it can just be, yeah, we had a great time and everything's fantastic and I'm so sexy and cool and awesome. But really, this song to me speaks a little bit more to maybe some of the more complicated emotional reactions we might have after a night like that.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Well, we're going to play it for our audience and finally get them the opportunity to listen to that growl that has been associated with the tone of your voice and some of the music. But we got to take a quick break. Ariana, can you hang in there for a little bit longer?
Yes.
Awesome. You don't move, girl. You stay right where you're at. And we have to pay some bills so we can keep doing what we're doing. But we're going to be back with more Ariana Hodes and her song, Last Night's Makeup. Ladies out there, you need to listen up. Because maybe it's a little something, like you said, on the other side of the coin of what can go through someone's mind when they have an experience like that. Or if you haven't, maybe you might want to think twice about it. You never know. We're going to be back with more Ariana Hodes in just a minute, and the title track to her first four-song EP, Last Night's Makeup, coming up right after this, right here on Penn Speak Radio. Wow. That's all I can really say about that. Man, I think I need to go take a shower.
To clean myself from the swampiness.
That's a crazy song. Yeah, man. I mean, that definitely does the portrait. And I have to say, you mentioned about you have this range and, you got the growl going on. You got that deep, whatever that is in there. And then, man, you went off the charts on part of that song. I mean, you just hit those high notes out there, girl. You've got quite the range.
Isn't it crazy? And, it's just so funny because, I listen to that song now, too, and I'm like, I can hear all of my, I got deep, influences from classic rock and sort of that, that kind of psychedelicness, I think.
Yeah.
It's so, I just feel like my instinct is just to, go fly up there all the time,
Yeah.
So
Well,
I love doing both.
And the music, it starts right off with taking you somewhere that's kind of dark and scary.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that heavy beat in there, and so it's good. I liked it a lot. I mean, you're on the right track there, girl. I think Mike hit the nail on the head by sending you to Nashville. Let me tell you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Good stuff there.
Yeah, and I just think, I worked with a fellow by the name of Jonathan Pierce, who is actually my roommate here in Nashville. And when I moved in with him, he was producing my other roommate's EP, David Bournet's EP, and I heard what he was doing, and I was just like, do you want to maybe think about producing mine, too? And he just was the one who really took these songs and really, I think, captured that, modern voice, but with the vibes. He really helped me get the right feeling, exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I heard the beat, and he was able to build, with the organs and the the violin on it. It's just he really did it right.
Yeah.
I feel.
No, I love it. I think it's good. And I think there's a pocket for you because you don't fit in the traditional country sound. You kind of have your own thing going on there, so you can kind of venture into a couple other genres. But I really think, this is not against any of the new country artists at all because there's a ton of them out there, and I know they're all struggling. Unfortunately, what ends up happening is they all start sounding the same. And they're all trying to do the wiggle your butt song or the country girl in a pickup truck song or, whatever the case may be.
Super fun. Yeah, right. I mean, we all want to sing a country girl,
Yeah.
Jean Short's song. Those are great.
But
and I agree with you that also, people try to do what they've seen other people be successful at.
right.
Which is totally natural. I mean, it's, especially if you're trying to make a living doing this, you're going to have a lot of this thought, and you're going to have a lot of people telling you, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, especially in a town like this.
Right.
And, you know, really, for me, it's been so important for to have people like Mike be like, nope, just keep doing your sound. You sound like you. Just keep doing that.
Right. You know, I understand, you know, like you're saying, you know, you want to get in the mainstream. You want to get in the place that, you know, you kind of are following the path of everybody else just to get your foot in the door. But hopefully a lot of these artists unfortunately, a lot of the artists, I think, fall to the wayside because they forget that that's great. If that's a tool you need to use to get your foot in a door or whatever the case may be, fine. But you can't lose who you are. You can't lose your sound. You can't lose what you stand for. And, you know, you got to remember that.
Tell.
What's that?
Because people can tell. Like, I'm sure your listeners hear a lot of stuff where they're like, okay, well, that sounds like everything else I've heard. And,
right.
you know, then you just like in one ear, out the other. And,
right.
you know, people are smart enough, I think, to know when an artist is bringing something really from themselves or not.
Right. Well, I think you're on the right path of that, no matter what everybody tells you. You know, I mean, you're definitely one of those standout artists that has that a sound that you don't want to lose. You know, don't tuck it away for the sake of the dollar. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't do that.
Yes, and I am going to take that and stick it in my back pocket and,
you know,
pull it out every time somebody tries to tell me, you know, write a song that sounds like what you hear on the top 20.
Yeah. And you know what? And every once in a while, that's fine. Throw one out there. You know, you can still put your twist on it. You can still put your sound on it. It still can talk about wiggling your ass. You know, that's fine.
Right.
You know?
I do like a good pair of cut-off jean shorts.
There you go. You know, but stay true to yourself. And that's, I think, the important part. And I think that's going to get respected a whole lot quicker and, you know, stand out a little bit more than the everyday person who's just, you got to find a way to be different. And yet,
yeah, you do.
There's a fine line, you know, and I think that's where a lot of them get confused and lost in the shuffle. There's a fine line between getting out there and being in the market, but not losing yourself while you're doing it, you know.
Yep.
So that's...
and I think that I have sort of a, you know, well, sometimes I like this about myself, and sometimes I don't. But you know, I listen to a lot of different music, and I listened to a lot of different genres growing up. But you know, certainly pop music is, you know, a huge part of that.
Right.
And through the decade, you know, I'm not going to say I don't like a pop sound, and I think that is one of the things that actually gives me and my songs that, you know, there's still an appealing factor, an appealability.
Right.
I don't know if I'm making up a word, but like, you know, we like to hear things that we can sing along. Like for me, like it was always about what can I sing along to. You know, if I'm on a road trip or if I'm in the car, like I'm singing to something, and that's why I started putting on country radio stations, because that's where all the great female singers were. That's where all the great voices were, the great stories. You know, country music is just ripe with all of that. And, you know, that's definitely where I'm coming from with trying to, you know, I don't know if everybody would agree that all of my songs are country. Some of them are certainly a little bit more so than others, but, you know, that's why I feel a deep connection to the genre as a whole. I just think it's...
Well, I think you're on the right track, and I think, you know, basically, you know, the conversation that we've now had for the last couple minutes, you know, you have summed up in kind of a title of one of your songs, and I have no idea if that's what the song is about or not, but I think it's kind of ironic that one of the songs that we're going to feature today is a little something called Never Lose Sight. And, you know, in a minute, you're more than welcome to explain the story to it. But, like, for me, that's just one of those things. No matter what you're talking about, don't lose sight of your career. Don't lose sight of who you are. Don't lose sight of, you know, where you come from. Don't lose sight of your morals. Don't lose sight of your faith. Don't lose sight. There's so many things that line can go with. Is that where that song goes, or is this something completely off the hook of something different?
Well, I don't think any of that is totally inapplicable. For me, I wrote it out of a place of, you know, doubt and insecurity. And for me, it was about the light and love and everything positive being the things that will pull you out of or pull you through.
Right.
And just to find that where that lives, in you, or whether you see it, you get it from somebody else. For me, I was in a relationship with somebody who was always very much the voice of, no, keep going, no, you're doing great, was a very positive force in my life for a long time. And so that really did help me get through some of those days where all I wanted to do was lie in bed and put my head under a pillow.
Yeah, yeah. So the words to this might be inspiring to some people who are have whatever their struggle is. There's got to be something out there that's the light at the end of the tunnel for them, and that's what they got to focus on.
But I love what you were saying though about never lose sight. And I think it's true. Like never lose sight of yourself, because this is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently too. And I love that we're talking about this. I've been just about how. We have that light in ourselves all the time.
Right.
It is always there for us. We can always find it. And for a lot of people who might be religious, they might find it in church, or they might find it, in communion with their people. And I think that is something also to hold on to.
Right.
Be a key for us.
Whatever it is, you got to hold on to it and not lose sight of that one thing that keeps you human,
Yep.
and keeps you where you're at. Well, we're going to hit the bottom of the ID here, Ariana, and then we're going to come back with that song. You still can hang in there for a few more minutes, dear?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. When we come back, we're going to find out how you can reach out to Ariana and how you can get your hands on her music. Just talk about a few more things close to the heart for this lovely lady, and then we'll have to cut her loose. But we still got some more of her music to come up. We're going to feature that song, Never Lose Sight, right after the bottom of the hour ID, and back with a little bit more of this amazing woman at the ripe old age of in her 30s. But her words of wisdom coming up, and Never Lose Sight, right after we take a quick break, right here on Penn's Peak Radio. There you go. Little something called Never Lose Sight. Ariana Hodes. Check this girl out on her website. You a social media bug?
Yes, I do all of the things. I've got Twitter, Instagram. Those are probably my favorites. I do Facebook, and I try to respond to anybody who wants to send me anything. Also, I should just throw this out there. If you go to my website and you email me and you want a digital copy or a physical copy of the EP, I am totally happy to just send it to people.
Oh, there you go.
All it takes is an email. That's it. I just want to hear from people.
All right. Well, you should send some to me, and I'll get them in some people's hands over here.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Too.
Yeah. Love to have a few, and one for me, of course.
Yeah. For sure. Send me your address.
I will. I friended you on Facebook, so we should be able to communicate at some point in time here. You're trying to get your music out there. It's got some great inspirational words to it. People need to give it a listen. Like it for what it is, but take it a step deeper. You got some good stuff. Can you give us a wink, nudge of some new stuff or something new and exciting that might be happening that your peeps can be looking out for without getting into trouble?
Yeah, I think so. I recently got to do a write with Cowboy Troy.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, and it was super great. He's so cool and so nice, and he was down to write this song with me that is definitely has some pretty deep roots, I think, in the sort of 60s anti-war movement, folk tradition of that era, but it's very modern. We wrote this really fresh song to me that's about, peace and how it's in our hands to make it.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about this song, and I think he is too. So I think we might end up doing something with that. But I can't say too much because I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
But we've been sort of talking back and forth about
That's awesome.
trying to record it and release it. I don't know. Who knows? just let it happen.
Nice. Yeah, he was on my show a couple of weeks ago, and he was really, really nice and down to earth, and he was a lot of fun to talk to. He's another one of those artists that kind of got a different look, a different style, a different feel to the traditional country music. He's far from traditional country, you know.
Right.
So
fun.
He was a lot of fun to chat with for sure. But check out Ariana's website. You can see some of the places that she's going to be hanging her hat and doing some stuff. You've got some great videos on here. More video work to come on some of these new songs you're putting out?
For sure. Making more, I mean, you know, music these days, I mean, it's always been sort of a visual medium, which, you know, sounds kind of counterintuitive when you think about music, but, you know, we've always watched musicians themselves on stage, and now with, you know, YouTube being what it is, I mean, yeah, gotta just keep making music videos so people can watch them on YouTube. But also, hopefully, I'll get out some of my live performance video as well very soon.
Nice. And just to touch base on this, if they go to your website and they check out your store, are you a photographer as well?
Yeah, so yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of one of my other passions. That I had some, you know, I'm working with a PR company, and they were like, nah, yeah, like just put your photography out there, like absolutely do it. And I was like,
Nice.
okay, it's not distracting, it's not weird. And they're like, no, just, you know, keep it up.
Nice.
I was like,
You're actually
yeah.
you're actually the second artist in possibly in 2 weeks who also does photography that I've spoken to,
Awesome.
which is really kind of odd. But yeah, so you can check out her Instaprints also in her store. Check out how you can get her digital downloads or the compact CD. But if wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if you want a free one, you should just send her a quick email or write her a letter, and she will send one out to you free of charge, just to help get her music out there. And
I have a P.O. box too if you like snail mail. I like postcards.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, at your Nashville. So awesome. So anything else you'd like to add, Ariana, before we talk about that last song at the end of the show? Anything close to your heart that you like to perform for, or anything else that you would like our listening audience to know about in specific before we branch off on that last little tune?
I mean, Casey, I just want to thank you so much for having me on your show. This has been an absolute blast. You are a fantastic host. And,
well, thank you.
I mean, I'm sure your listeners know how great you are, but I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be on your show. It's really great. This is really special to me. Like, just doing this, you know, getting to, you know, talk to people and meet new people and, you know, do that whole thing.
Well, I appreciate that. And, you know, I like to do this, too, for all my artists. I know you actually live up here in the north, or had lived up here, so I'm sure you have family still and friends in New Hampshire. It's a little bit of a jaunt, but, you know, if you're ever in the area, or if you find that you're going to be doing some performing up in the area and you have a day you want to swing by, the doors to Penn Speak Radio are always open, and we love to have our artists stop in and do a little live impromptu, too, if you can swing it. So
I'd love to do that. That would be awesome.
FYI. So,
Cool.
yeah, we have a beautiful studio, living room setting. You can bring your guitar, do some acoustic stuff. It would be fun. So just keep that in mind, girl.
All right, you got my wheels turning.
All right, wonderful, good. Hey, listen, now this whole show gets recorded, and we play it all back on a Sunday, so you can let your peeps know on Facebook if they missed the interview and they want to catch it. It starts 8 a.m. Eastern Time here in PA, and the interview will be in the second hour of the show. And that's where most of your music will be featured, and, of course, the interview. But at the end of the show, I like to remind everybody about that, and we've got one more song that you and I chatted about, Working to Drink. And again, another great title. I love the title. But why don't you tell us a little bit about it and give the peeps a little insight of what they're going to be listening to at the end of the show when the show comes to an end in the next couple hours.
Yeah, well, you know, as an artist, I have paid my bills in the hospitality industry for quite some time, and so this is a song sort of straight out of one of those nights, closing up the bar, getting yourself back home, and it's a song for anybody who knows what it's like to be standing on your feet for 8 hours or more.
I'm a bartender on weekends, so I feel you.
Yes. Yes. No.
I feel you. Yeah, no doubt about it. So anybody who works, basically, and most people work, even if they are sitting down, man, sometimes jobs are just tough. They're just tough.
Yep.
In today's society.
Job is a job, and, you just got to
do it to pay the bills, and hopefully you like it a little bit.
That's right. That's
awesome.
right.
Working to Drink coming up at the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Ariana Hodes. Check this girl out. Write her an email. You can get your hands on some free music. We're going to connect here in just a minute after we get off the phone, make sure that she has information, and I'll be able to have some of her CDs here that we'll give away in the next couple weeks once I get them. But thank you, my dear, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule. I appreciate it. And if it weren't for artists like you guys, man, I wouldn't have a job. So keep doing what you do.
Yeah, I love it.
Appreciate it so much, girl.